Everyone, today I'm gonna show you how to solve LEETCODE question 1337, the k weakest rows in a matrix. It's a easy LEETCODE question, as you can see here. You're giving a m plus multiplex n binary matrix mat. Basically, it looks like here of ones representing soldiers, and then there's also zeros, as you can see here. These soldiers are positioned in the front of the row here. That is, the ones will appear to the left of all the zeros in each row. So that is very important piece of information, that all the ones are on the left side. A row I is weaker than a row J if one of the following is true. The number of soldiers in row I is less than the number of soldiers in J. So if the ones are less than in one row is less than the ones in another row, that means the row is weaker. Both rows have the same number of soldiers and I is smaller than J. So if you meet these two requirements, then the row I is weaker than row J. Return the indices of the k weakest rows in the matrix ordered from the weakest to the strongest. So let's take a look at an example here. This is the mat here, all the zeros in the list as you can see. So the output is 203. The explanation here is the number of soldiers in each row is basically row 0. This is 2 because you can see there are 2 here, and on the second row there are 4, 1 here, and then there are 1 here, and on the row 3 there are 2, and on the last row and then you have 5, 1 here. After you get the number of soldiers in each row, and then the row ordered from the weakest to the strongest are row 2, basically because the one row 2 has the least amount of 1, and then row 1, and then row 3, and row 1, and then row 4, because row 4 has the most of 1. So when you return the output, because k equals 3, so you only return the first 3 number. So in the next example, it's basically the same thing, and you count the 0 first in the output, and then when k equals 2, you only need to return the first 2. And then you can see the constraints here, mat.length and mat.I length, and this is the matrix ij is either 0 or 1. So basically either 0 or 1. So you don't have to do this, I guess, but I'm gonna show you how to do this in code. Before that, let's think about this problem. Just like in the example, what you actually wanted to do is, this is look like a graph, right? The rows and columns. What you wanted to do, a easy way to calculate this is you can count the ones on each row and have all the output ready like this. And after you have an output like this, and you can sort the output. After you sort the output, and then you can just take the first 3 output from a list. So that's the thought process. So I'm gonna show you how to do this in code. So I like to define the graph, like length of mat, and I'm gonna define this graph first by doing this, and I'm gonna put in a list to calculate all the 0 here, all the ones in each row. So for I and the row enumerate, I'm gonna enumerate the mat for this graph output. So it'll actually look something like row 0, row 1, row 2, row 3, row 4, something like this, and the on the right side it will be each rows ones and a zero after the enumeration. And then after I get this, I want to give it a count, basically count the number of ones that each row has. After that, I want to use the J in range of the codes, basically the columns, so that I can go through each line to count the ones. And if row J equals to 0, and then I'm gonna break out. If not, then I'm gonna, before I reach that, I'm gonna add the count to 1, because every time when I see a 1, I'm gonna increase the count by 1, right? And then after that, I'm gonna append the result. Basically is the count. I'm gonna append. First one is the count that I calculated in each row, and then the I is the row number. And after that, I will have a list of something like this, but with their first one, this is the count, right? But my output after I append, I will also have it will not look like this, but it will look something like 242125, but with the I, which is row the row number, row indexes here. And then I'm gonna, after I have that output, the next step will be sort. I'm just gonna use the built-in sort function to sort the output. Once I sort the output will actually look something like this: 20314, and have the output sorted. But in each item, it will also include the index number as well. So in that case, I only need to get the first 3 in the output. So I will create a new list to say indexes, and for I in range of k, right? So k is 3 in this case. Indexes, I want to append. Let's say if k equals to 3, then I will append the first 3 number and go through each I. But the number that I want to append is actually the count of 1, which is located at index 1 location. And then after that, I'm gonna return the indexes of this. So that's it for the code. And I think this way it will return the first 3 output. Let's see. Yep, it's correct. Let me know if you think this is helpful, or if you have any questions, and I'll have more LeetCode question for you coming up soon. And I'll see you soon. Bye bye.